Hi everyone, I am Chardee McEwan-Guzda, your guide to reaching your fullest potential. Thank you for joining me on today's episode where we're going to talk about something that might surprise you a little. Why structure is actually the key to unlocking your flow. Now, I know, structure and flow seem like opposites, but most of us think that being in a state of flow means freedom and spontaneity. Here is the twist. Without structure, it's so much harder to harness your creativity, productivity, and your true potential, which we're going to talk about more about true potential in our next episode. So please make sure you are liking and subscribing so you are not going to miss that. So in this episode, we're diving into why structure is essential and uncovering some powerful facts you may not have heard before. So let's get started with a little truth bomb, shall we? Structure doesn't actually stifle creativity. It fuels it. It actually rocket fuels it. Research shows that when we have a structure in place, our brain can focus better. It can make decisions more efficiently, and believe it or not, it can tap into flow states far more easily. So, why is it that so many of us are resisting structure? Today, we're going to break that down, and by the end of this video, I think you'll see structure in a whole new light. Here is something really interesting. Studies from neuroscientists at Stanford reveals that the brain actually thrives on structure. Let me repeat that. The brain thrives on structure. Having structure around your day, like designated work times, breaks, and routines, helps to reduce something called decision fatigue. Decision fatigue happens when we use up all our mental energy on small, everyday choices, which ultimately depletes our focus and our motivation. So you might be thinking now about Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg. They're both famous for wearing the same type of outfit every single day. This was not a fashion statement by any means. It was a way to reduce decision fatigue, leaving more mental energy for creativity and innovation. By adding structure around small choices, we free up our brain to focus on what really matters. Setting up daily routines for things like waking up, eating, starting work, this reduces decision fatigue and gives you more mental energy for creative tasks. Use time blocking to schedule work sessions, creative products, and even rest. This structure helps you focus without feeling overwhelmed. Structure doesn't limit you. It actually clears away the noise so that your brain can be at its best. When you create routines, you're projecting your mental energy and giving yourself a solid foundation to dive in deeper for more creative work. And I hear all the artists listening to this absolutely cheering and probably riling against what I'm saying as well. Another really surprising benefit of structure is it actually creates more freedom. And when I tell my clients this, I do see them roll their eyes quite a lot, but that's okay. I know it's really counterintuitive, but the truth is when we have boundaries in place, we feel safer and more in control, which opens up space for creativity and flow. There is a famous psychologist who I am not going to try and pronounce their name because I will absolutely butcher it in my Australian accent, but they coined the terms flow state. I'm sure if you Google that, you'll be able to see it. You'll probably be able to say it, but I got to tell you, it's not going to sound nice coming from me. So the person who coined the term flow state found that people reach flow most often when they have clear goals and clear boundaries, aka structure. So for all my creatives out there, you're not going to have to imagine this, but if you're not a creative, I want you to imagine that you are an artist with no deadline. While it might seem freeing, the lack of boundaries can actually lead to procrastination, frustration, and self-doubt. But if you set a deadline, a goal, or even a stop time, you're going to create a boundary that gives you the freedom to focus fully in the moment without distraction on your project. When you set small, achievable goals for each working session, goals don't have to be restrictive. They can be as simple as finishing the outline of this chapter or painting for 30 minutes. Give yourself off limits times as well, like a hard stop at the end of your day. This helps protect your mental energy and gives you dedicated rest time. When you set boundaries, you're actually giving yourself permission to go all in during your dedicated work time and truly rest when it is time to stop. This is the key to feeling both productive and fulfilled. One of the biggest reasons people resist structure is because they associate it with being rigid or restricted. But here's the catch. Structure can actually reduce stress and anxiety. According to the APA, which is the American Psychological Association, when we have structure and predictability in our lives, we feel more grounded and less overwhelmed, which means none of that dreaded burnout. Let's, for example, say you're working on a big project with no clear plan. Every time you think about it, you feel stressed. You're unsure where to start. But if you break it down into small tasks with a timeline, suddenly it feels way more manageable. Structure turns a big, overwhelming task into a series of achievable steps. In my last career, before I took on my own business, we had a saying, and it was, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So whenever you have a big thing that you need to devour, the best thing to do, step by step, tiny little bites. And as you are consistent over time, you're going to eat the elephant. Start your day with a plan. I know all of you just rolled your eyes and exhaled right then and there, but knowing what you're going to tackle that day helps reduce anxiety and it allows you to focus. I promise you, if you try this for 2 weeks, you are going to be so surprised about how much you can get done and how relaxed you feel while doing it. When you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, structure can be your best friend. By creating a plan, you're giving yourself a roadmap that reduces stress and keeps you moving forward one step at a time. So why do so many of us resist the structure? Part of it has to do with our personalities and past experiences. Some people equate structure with limitation, especially if you've been in environments where structure was used to control or restrict you. But here is the truth, another truth bomb. Structure, when created by you, is actually empowering. Unlike rigid schedules somebody else impose, a structure that aligns with your goals and values can give you the feeling of ownership and freedom. Think about a time when you set a goal for yourself, like training for a 5K run or completing a project. The structure you set for training or working towards that goal was yours. And because of that, it felt empowering rather than restricting. Creating a structure that aligns with your personal goals and values is more about asking yourself, what do I want to achieve? And what structure supports that? Give yourself flexibility within your structure. This is where we go into time blocking. It's okay to adapt your schedule as needed. Structure doesn't have to be a straitjacket. When you create it yourself, it becomes a supportive framework that helps you thrive. Give yourself permission to try different approaches until you find the balance that feels right. Nobody gets it 100% right on the first. So you might be thinking that's well and good, Chardee, but how do you create a structure that actually enhances your flow rather than disrupts it? The key here is to build a structure around your natural rhythms. Set up routines that support your energy levels. When you're in sync with yourself, you're more likely to enter a flow state. Let me give you an example of this. If you're naturally more creative in the morning, set aside that time for brainstorming, writing, or artistic work. If you get a burst of energy in the afternoon, plan to tackle your most focused tasks then. This way, your structure supports your natural rhythms rather than you forcing it into a routine that doesn't fit. I'll give you a prime example of me. I like to do all my, I guess people would call it your boring work. I like to do all my very, very important work. If you need me to get you out of trouble, if you need me to go over a government document, if I need to read anything, it needs to be in the morning. All my creative flows come after 3 p.m. I put all my most important work in the morning, and all my creative flow is in the afternoon. That's the structure that works best with me. I'm more naturally creative of a nighttime, and I am more goal orientated and focused, and I will find those uncrossed T's and undotted I's first thing in the morning. So when you identify your most productive time of the day, mine being the morning, and align your task with those rhythms, you can use that time block to create a structure that matches with your energy level rather than a one size fits all. There is no cookie cutter approach with this. Your natural biorhythm is your natural biorhythm. We need to work out what that is first before we can create a structure around it so that we can hold it in a container. Because the secret to harnessing flow is to work with yourself, not against yourself. When your structure matches your natural rhythms, it supports you in reaching flow states far more easily and more frequently. So there you have it. Structure isn't the enemy of flow. It is the key to unlocking it. By creating a foundation that supports your energy, reduces overwhelm, and frees up your beloved mental space, you're setting yourself up for success and for fulfillment. Remember, structure doesn't have to be rigid or limiting. It can be flexible, personal, and empowering. If you want more tools, guidance, and support to help you design the life that flows with purpose, I invite you to join my community. Inside, you'll get access to live calls, a library of courses, and the tools to create the structure that truly work for you. Click the link in the description to learn more and become part of a supportive, growth-focused community. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so that we can help more people unlock their flow through structure. Thank you for watching, and remember, structure doesn't limit your flow, it unlocks you. I'll see you next time. Bye.